I have spent years inside the nephrology research, thousands of pages, population data, clinical outcomes from some of the largest kidney health databases in the world. And here is what that research keeps showing me. The people losing kidney function after 60 are not making reckless choices. They are not ignoring their health. They are doing everything they were told to do, and it is quietly killing their kidneys anyway. People like the 74-year-old retired electrician, 12 years of ibuprofen for his knees, over the counter, available at every drugstore in America. His kidneys had been declining the entire time. Nobody connected the two until it was nearly too late. People like the 68-year-old retired teacher, spinach, almonds, beets, dark chocolate, green tea, every single morning. The healthiest breakfast she had ever eaten, according to every wellness platform she trusted. She was eating her way toward kidney failure. Nobody told her. People like the 76-year-old retired nurse, 30 years in clinical medicine, 3 excellent specialists, 3 perfectly appropriate prescriptions, acute kidney injury from a hot afternoon in the garden, because nobody had ever looked at all 3 medications together through the lens of what aging kidneys can actually handle. These are not rare cases. These are the patterns showing up consistently across nephrology clinics from Florida to Oregon, in lab results arriving quietly on a Tuesday morning and rewriting everything. My name is Dr. Savannah Blaire. This channel does one thing: translates what the medical literature actually says about aging into plain language. A 15-minute appointment will never cover. Everything I share comes from the evidence. And the evidence on kidney health after 60 has been telling a story for years that most people never hear until they are already sitting in a specialist's office. Here is that story. After 60, your kidneys are not the organs they were at 40. Filtering capacity already down. Tolerance for chemical load already lower. Ability to recover from damage already slower. And the margin between feels fine and quietly crossed a threshold. Narrower than any doctor will tell you at a routine checkup. The things most likely to be accelerating that decline right now are not the dangerous things. They are the routine things. The trusted things. Sitting in your medicine cabinet, on your supplement shelf, on your breakfast table this morning. Things you were told were safe. Things nobody has ever asked you to reconsider. Today I am walking you through 5 of them, specifically, with the research and a clear framework for what to do instead. Stay through all 5. Number 3 stops people cold. Number 5 is the one almost nobody connects to their kidneys, until the labs force the conversation. Your kidneys have already been paying the price. Today, that stops. My name is Dr. Savannah Blaire. This channel exists for one reason: to tell you what the research actually says about your health after 60. Not the version filtered through a rushed appointment, not the version softened to avoid a difficult conversation. What I am about to share does not come from a single study. It comes from tracking the science across nephrology journals, pharmacology research, and large-scale population data, and then asking the question most clinicians never have time to ask in 15 minutes. What does this mean for a body that has been running for 6 or 7 decades? Because here is what most doctors will not say out loud at a routine checkup. The kidneys are the most quietly vulnerable organs in the aging body. They do not send dramatic warning signals. They do not give you pain the way your back does. They do not give you breathlessness the way your heart does. They simply decline, gradually, then suddenly, and by the time your labs tell the story clearly, a meaningful amount of that function is already gone. In many cases, it did not have to be. That story deserves a serious conversation, and that conversation starts right now. After 60, some of the most common everyday habits. Things your doctor has never once flagged. Things actively marketed to older adults as healthy are accelerating kidney decline. Not because your kidneys are broken, but because the threshold for what they can safely handle drops significantly with age. And almost nobody is recalibrating for that reality. The risk-to-benefit math changes after 60. Nobody is doing that math in the room with you. Today I am walking you through 5 specific things I would personally reconsider. A common pain reliever. A popular supplement. A dietary habit the fitness industry has been selling you for years. A medications combination your pharmacist has probably never flagged. And one that is going to surprise you, because it is sitting in your kitchen right now being called a health food. Stay through all 5. Number 3, is the one that makes people stop and call a family member. Number 5 is the one most people never connect to their kidneys until the damage is already done. Before the list, I need to give you one concept. Without it, nothing I am about to say will fully land. I call it the silent threshold. Here is what most people understand about kidney health. You have 2 kidneys. They filter your blood. If something goes wrong, your doctor catches it on a blood test. Here is what most people do not understand. By the time you turn 60, you have already lost roughly 30 to 40% of your peak kidney filtering capacity. Not because anything went wrong, because that is the normal expected trajectory of a kidney that has been doing its job for 6 decades. It happens to everyone. No symptoms, no warning. And it means you are operating with significantly less reserve than you had at 40. 3 things change because of that reduced reserve. These 3 things are the engine behind everything on this list. First, your kidney's tolerance for chemical load drops. Medications and supplements a 45-year-old clears without incident can accumulate in an older body to levels that stress the filtering tissue. The dose that was safe at 50 is not automatically safe at 70. The math has changed. Second, your kidneys lose their ability to signal damage early. In younger tissue, inflammation triggers noticeable symptoms. In aging kidney tissue, the early damage is silent. The cells simply stop functioning. No alarm, no warning. Just a number on a lab panel quietly trending in the wrong direction while you feel completely fine. Third, and this is the one that matters most, kidney damage after 60 is largely irreversible. The nephrons, the microscopic filtering units inside each kidney, do not regenerate. Once they are gone, they are gone. The window for prevention is not after your labs come back abnormal. It is now, before the number moves. That is the silent threshold. The point where an aging kidney crosses from managing to declining, silently, invisibly, without giving you a second chance to catch it early. Every item on this list operates through one of these 3 mechanisms. Once you understand the framework, you will never look at your morning routine the same way again. Before we start, take 10 seconds and do something for me. Drop a comment below. Tell me your name and where you are watching from. A city, a state, a country, whatever you are comfortable sharing. I read every single one. And I genuinely want to know who I am talking to today. Because this is not an abstract conversation. This is the person in rural Ohio who has been on ibuprofen for 10 years for their knees. The woman in Florida whose doctor just added a 3rd blood pressure medication, and nobody explained what that combination does to kidney function. The man in the UK drinking 2 protein shakes a day because his gym told him that is exactly what men over 60 need. I am talking to all of you. Drop your name and location right now. Then stay with me. Because the first item on this list alone is going to change how you look at your medicine cabinet. List item 1, the pain reliever you've trusted for 20 years. Meet Robert, 74 years old, retired electrician from outside Nashville, Tennessee. Still doing his own yard work on Saturday mornings. Sharp, self-sufficient. His knees had been grinding since his late 50s, decades of kneeling on concrete floors. His doctor mentioned arthritis once, handed him a pamphlet, and that was the end of that conversation. So Robert did what millions of Americans do. He managed it himself. 2 ibuprofen before yard work, 2 more in the evening if it flared. Sometimes more on bad weeks. 12 years. Every week. As routine as his morning coffee. It was over the counter. It was in every drugstore in America. The label said safe for adults. What the label did not say is what the nephrology research shows clearly. NSAIDs, ibuprofen, naproxen, and similar over-the-counter pain relievers work by blocking compounds called prostaglandins. In younger kidneys, that blockade is temporary and inconsequential. But in kidneys over 60, prostaglandins are not just inflammation byproducts. They actively regulate blood flow to the kidney tissue itself. They maintain pressure inside the tiny filtering vessels, block them chronically, and blood flow to the kidney drops. Filtering pressure drops with it, and the nephrons, those irreplaceable filtering units, begin operating under chronic low-level stress. The American Journal of Kidney Diseases has documented this extensively. Regular SAID use in adults over 60 is associated with measurable acceleration of kidney function decline, particularly in people with high blood pressure, diabetes, or any existing GFR reduction, which, as we established, describes the majority of adults in that age group, whether they know it or not. Here is the cascade Robert never saw coming. 12 years of daily ibuprofen. Chronic prostaglandin suppression. Gradual constriction of the blood vessels feeding his kidney tissue. Quiet, symptom-free nephron loss. Building year over year. Then last winter, Robert got a stomach bug. 2 days of not keeping fluids down. Nothing dramatic. In a younger body with full kidney reserve, that is uncomfortable but manageable. In Robert's kidneys, already operating on a decade of NSAID stress, that 2-day dehydration pushed his filtering function over a cliff. His GFR dropped from 58 to 31 in under 3 weeks. Stage 3 chronic kidney disease. From a stomach bug. Except it was not really from the stomach bug. The stomach bug was the last push. The 12 years of ibuprofen had been building the damage the entire time. Robert told me afterward. And I have heard this exact sentence more times than I can count. Nobody ever told me ibuprofen could do this. Nobody told him. That is the problem. The FDA has carried warnings about NSAID-related kidney damage for years. The American Geriatric Society places ibuprofen and naproxen on their Beers criteria. The official list of medications considered potentially inappropriate for older adults, specifically because of renal risk. The research is not new. The guidance is not hidden. It simply does not make it into the 15-minute appointment where a 74-year-old man mentions his knees are bothering him. What to do instead? Acetaminophen, Tylenol, remains significantly safer for kidney function at appropriate doses. Topical diclofenac gel delivers localized relief with dramatic systemic absorption, far less reaching your kidneys. Physical therapy focused on joint stabilization has strong evidence behind it for chronic arthritis pain. And in some cases, a conversation with your doctor about prescription alternatives is worth having. With kidney function monitoring built into the plan. The goal is not to live with the pain. The goal is to manage it without quietly trading your kidney function to do so. If you are still here and finding value, type the number 1 in the comments. I want to know you are with me. Because we are just getting started. List item 2: the healthy supplement your kidneys are quietly drowning in. Meet Carol, 68 years old. Retired schoolteacher from Scottsdale, Arizona. Meticulous about her health. Pill organizer. Supplement checklist on the refrigerator. Every morning without fail. Multivitamin, fish oil, joint support, and the one she was most proud of. High-dose vitamin C, 2,000 milligrams, every single day. She had read about it online. 3 different wellness channels recommended it. Immune support, antioxidant protection, anti-aging benefits. Carol felt like she was doing everything right. She was not. Here is what nobody told Carol, and what the nephrology literature has been documenting for over a decade. When your body metabolizes vitamin C, the end product is a compound called oxalate. From food sources in normal amounts, your kidneys handle it easily. But when you flood your system with 2,000 milligrams of supplemental vitamin C daily, your body produces oxalate faster than aging kidneys can clear it. That oxalate accumulates, concentrates inside kidney tissue, and then it does one thing with remarkable efficiency. It crystallizes. Those crystals, calcium oxalate, do not just cause the excruciating pain of a kidney stone passing through the ureter. In adults with reduced kidney reserve, they embed directly in the kidney tissue itself, a condition called oxalate nephropathy. Localized inflammation, tubular damage, in severe cases permanent scarring. A landmark study published in JAMA Internal Medicine followed over 23,000 men across 11 years and found that supplemental vitamin C, not dietary, vitamin C from food, supplemental, was associated with a doubled risk of kidney stone formation. Doubled. And the risk was specifically concentrated in older adults whose kidneys were already operating with reduced clearance capacity. Here is the cascade Carol never anticipated. 18 months of 2,000 milligrams daily. Chronic oxalate overload. Microscopic crystal formation building quietly in her kidney tubules. No pain, no symptoms, nothing her annual blood panel was designed to catch. Then a routine urinalysis at a new doctor's office, ordered almost as an afterthought, came back flagged. Oxalate crystals in the urine. Further imaging confirmed it. Early medullary nephrocalcinosis, calcium deposits inside her kidney tissue. Carol had been supplementing her way toward kidney damage for 18 months, while believing she was doing her body a favor. The research is not obscure. The National Kidney Foundation explicitly advises adults with reduced kidney function, which includes the majority of people over 60, whether diagnosed or not, to avoid high-dose vitamin C and cap supplemental intake at 100 milligrams daily. The European Food Safety Authority has issued identical guidance. Multiple independent research bodies, consistent conclusion, and yet the wellness industry sells high-dose vitamin C to older adults as a flagship product. The marketing is confident, the packaging is bright. The word immune appears in large letters. Nowhere on that bottle does it say, your kidneys metabolize every milligram of this, and after 60, they may not keep up. What to do instead? Get your vitamin C from food. Oranges, bell peppers, strawberries, broccoli. A normal diet delivers 200 to 400 milligrams daily, in a form your kidneys process gradually and efficiently. If you supplement, stay at or below 100 milligrams and discuss it with your physician, especially with any history of kidney stones or reduced GFR. The immune benefits you are chasing from a 2,000 milligram supplement are not supported by spins that outweighs the renal risk in an older adult. More is not always better. With aging kidneys, more is sometimes the problem. Still watching? Type the number 2 in the comments. And stay close. Because number 3 is the one that has stopped more people in their tracks than anything else on this list. List item 3, the high-protein habit, the fitness industry. Sold you meet Dennis, 71 years old. Retired firefighter from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Still lifting weights 3 times a week. Still walking 2 miles every morning. Still wearing the same waist size he had at 55. His trainer, a well-meaning man 20 years his junior, put him on a high-protein protocol 2 years earlier. The logic made sense on the surface. Older adults lose muscle. Protein rebuilds it. More protein, more muscle preservation. Dennis was hitting 180 grams daily. 2 protein shakes. Chicken breast at every meal. Greek yogurt, eggs, cottage cheese. His trainer called it optimal. His mirror agreed. His kidneys were saying something else entirely. Here is the biology the fitness industry does not put on its packaging. Protein metabolism produces nitrogen waste, specifically urea. When your body breaks down amino acids, urea is the byproduct. Your kidneys filter it out. In a 35-year-old with full kidney reserve, a high-protein diet is a manageable load. The kidneys ramp up their filtration rate. Researchers call it hyperfiltration. Handle the demand and recover without lasting damage. In a 71-year-old with 30 to 40% reduced baseline kidney capacity, that same hyperfiltration tells a completely different story. When aging kidneys are forced into chronic hyperfiltration, the pressure inside the tiny filtering vessels, the glomeruli, increases significantly. Sustained, day after day. That elevated pressure triggers a process called glomerulosclerosis, scarring, hardening of the very structures responsible for filtration. Muscle tissue responds to stress by growing stronger. Kidney tissue responds to chronic overstress by scarring and shutting down permanently. A major study, published in the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, followed adults over 65 on high-protein diets across 5 years and found significantly accelerated GFR decline, even in individuals with no prior kidney diagnosis. People who genuinely believed their kidneys were perfectly fine. Here is the cascade Dennis never saw coming. 2 years of 180 grams daily. Chronic hyperfiltration. Sustained glomerular pressure. Gradual scarring accumulating silently. His energy started dropping. He blamed aging. His urine started foaming occasionally. He noticed but dismissed it. Foaming urine is one of the earliest visible signs of protein spilling through a compromised kidney barrier. Dennis thought it was from drinking water too fast. It was not. By the time a comprehensive metabolic panel caught the decline, his GFR had dropped from an estimated 72 to 51. 21 points. Lost to protein shakes and chicken breast and a fitness protocol built for a body 30 years younger than his. The American Kidney Fund and the National Kidney Foundation are both explicit. Adults over 60 with any degree of reduced kidney function should target 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily, not the 2 to 1.6 grams fitness programs routinely recommend. For a 180-pound man, the kidney-safe target is roughly 50 to 65 grams daily, not 180. What to do instead? Do not abandon protein. Right-size it for your actual biology. Spread intake across meals rather than concentrating it in shakes. Prioritize plant-based sources like lentils, beans, and tofu. They generate less nitrogen waste per gram than animal proteins. And before committing to any high-protein nutrition plan, Ask your doctor to run a comprehensive metabolic panel, including GFR and a urine protein test. Your muscle mass matters. Your kidney function matters more. With the right targets, you do not have to choose between them. Type the number 3 in the comments if you are still here. Stay close, because number 4 involves something in your medicine cabinet right now that your doctor may never have thought to flag. List item 4. The medication combination your pharmacist never warned you about. Meet Patricia, 76 years old. Retired nurse from outside Baltimore, Maryland, 30 years in clinical settings. She understood medications better than most patients ever will. She read package inserts. She asked questions. She knew how to advocate for herself. And it still happened to her. Patricia was managing 3 conditions common to adults her age: high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, chronic back pain from a compression fracture 5 years earlier. Her cardiologist had her on an ACE inhibitor. Her endocrinologist had recently added an SGLT2 inhibitor, widely praised for cardiovascular and metabolic benefits. Her primary care physician had prescribed a low-dose diuretic for mild fluid retention. 3 conditions, 3 specialists, 3 medications. Each one appropriate in isolation. Each one prescribed by a physician who knew Patricia's individual diagnosis well. Not one of them had looked at all 3 together. Here is why that matters. ACE inhibitors, lisinopril, enalapril, ramipril, lower blood pressure by dilating the vessels leading away from the kidney's filtering units. That reduces pressure inside the glomeruli. Protective long-term for diabetic kidneys. But it also means the kidney is running at lower filtration pressure than it would naturally. SGLT2 inhibitors, empagliflozin, dapagliflozin, are brilliant for blood sugar and heart protection, but they also reduce the kidney's filtration rate. By design, diuretics make the kidneys excrete more water, which reduces the volume of blood the kidneys are receiving to filter. Now put all 3 together in a 76-year-old body, already running on reduced kidney reserve, lower filtration pressure, lower filtration rate, lower blood volume. 3 separate mechanisms, each one nudging kidney perfusion downward, simultaneously. Nephrologists have a name for this. They call it the triple whammy. A large-scale study published in the British Medical Journal examining over 500 patients found that this combination significantly elevated the risk of acute kidney injury compared to any single agent or 2-drug combination alone. The risk was highest in adults over 65, in those with pre-existing reduced kidney function, and during any period of physiological stress, illness, heat, dehydration, anything that drops blood volume further. Here is the cascade Patricia never anticipated. Last July, a heat wave. Patricia spent a day gardening, sweated more than usual, drank water but not enough. Nothing dramatic, just an ordinary summer afternoon. In a younger body with full kidney reserve and a single medication. Manageable. In Patricia's body, already operating at the intersection of 3 kidney-stressing drugs on a reduced reserve system. That afternoon was enough. She woke the next morning hitting a wall. Urine output down noticeably. By afternoon, she was confused. Disoriented enough that her daughter, who happened to be visiting, took her to the emergency room. Her creatinine had spiked to levels indicating acute kidney injury. 4 days in the hospital. Her nephrologist told her something that has stayed with me since I read her case. Your medications were each doing their job. Together, on that day. In that heat, they were too much for your kidneys to manage. She had not done anything wrong. She had simply never been told the combination existed as a risk. Not by her cardiologist. Not by her endocrinologist. Not by her primary care physician. Not by the pharmacist who filled all 3 prescriptions at the same pharmacy for 2 years. What to do instead? This is not a reason to stop your medications. ACE inhibitors, SGLT2 inhibitors, and diuretics are genuinely important drugs that protect hearts, manage blood sugar, and extend lives. The answer is not avoidance. The answer is awareness. Ask your primary care physician directly. I am on multiple medications that affect kidney perfusion. Can we review my complete list for cumulative kidney risk? Request GFR and creatinine checks at least twice yearly if you are on any combination of blood pressure medication, diabetes medication, and a diuretic. During illness, heat waves, or any period of fluid loss, sweating, vomiting, diarrhea, contact your physician about temporarily adjusting the doses. Nephrologists call this a sick day protocol. It exists precisely because triple whammy risk spikes the moment blood volume drops. And if you are seeing multiple specialists, ask your primary care physician to serve as a medication coordinator. 1. Physician, whose explicit job is to look at the whole board. Your specialists are each doing their job well. Someone needs to be watching the intersection. After 60, with aging kidneys sitting at the center of that intersection, show that oversight is not optional. Type the number 4 in the comments if you are still watching. Because number 5, the one sitting in your kitchen right now, being called a health food, is the one that is going to surprise you most of all. List item 5. The kitchen health food. Quietly stressing your kidneys every morning meat. Margaret, 69 years old, retired accountant from Portland, Oregon. Read every nutrition label. Bought organic. Subscribe to 3 health newsletters. After a mild cardiac scare in her mid-60s, she overhauled everything. Cut processed food, reduced sodium, eliminated red meat. Her cardiologist was pleased. Her cholesterol numbers improved. By every conventional measure, Margaret was eating well. Every morning she made what she called her health bowl: spinach, almonds, beet slices, dark chocolate chips, almond butter, strong black tea on the side. Built from wellness articles, YouTube health channels. The kind of nutritional wisdom that circulates confidently across the internet and sounds, at every turn, completely reasonable. Here is what no wellness article ever mentioned. Spinach, beets, almonds, dark chocolate, and black tea are 5 of the highest oxalate foods in the human diet. Margaret was eating all 5 of them, together, every single morning, for 3 years. Here is the biology. Oxalate is a naturally occurring compound in many plant foods. In a healthy younger gut, intestinal bacteria, specifically Oxalobacter formigenes, break down a significant portion of dietary oxalate before it ever reaches the kidneys. But after 60, 2 things change that equation dramatically. First, gut microbiome diversity declines. Oxalobacter formigenes populations drop significantly in older adults. Less oxalate degraded in the gut means more passing into the bloodstream. Second, aging kidneys with reduced filtration capacity clear oxalate more slowly, allowing it to concentrate in the kidney tubules, where it crystallizes. A high oxalate diet that a 40-year-old gut and kidney system handles without difficulty becomes a meaningful chronic stress on a 69-year-old whose gut bacteria have thinned and whose kidneys are already filtering at reduced capacity. The research is specific. A study published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that adults with GFR below 60, a threshold a significant portion of adults over 60 are already approaching, who consumed high oxalate diets showed measurably accelerated tubular damage and kidney function decline. The damage mechanism is identical to what we saw with Carol's vitamin C supplements: oxalate crystallization inside kidney tissue. Except this time the source is not a supplement. It is a breakfast bowl made entirely from foods every wellness platform in America is actively telling older adults to eat more of: spinach smoothies, almond flour baking, beet juicing, dark chocolate as a guilt-free indulgence. These are not fringe trends. They are mainstream recommendations, landing directly in the kidneys of a population whose ability to handle oxalate load has quietly diminished. Here is the cascade Margaret never anticipated. 3 years of her morning health bowl. Daily high oxalate loading from 5 concentrated sources simultaneously. Gut bacteria unable to neutralize the incoming load. Aging kidneys clearing oxalate slowly. Crystallization accumulating in the tubular tissue. No symptoms, no pain, nothing. Her wake-up call came from a new physician who noticed something nobody had flagged. Her creatinine had been climbing across 3 consecutive years of annual labs. Not dramatically. Not enough to trigger alarm. But consistently. One direction. A 24-hour urine collection confirmed it. Extremely elevated urinary oxalate excretion. A renal ultrasound found early medullary calcifications, calcium deposits, inside her kidney tissue. 3 years of the healthiest breakfast she had ever eaten. Margaret's nephrologist told her something that deserves to be said plainly. The foods that harmed you are genuinely nutritious. Real vitamins, real antioxidants, real fiber. The problem was never the food. The problem was the dose, the combination, and the biology of the kidneys receiving it. That distinction matters, because the answer is not to eat poorly. The answer is to understand that after 60, oxalate content is a variable worth managing, especially when you are eating multiple high oxalate foods together, in concentrated amounts every Single day. What to do instead? Rotate your greens. Kale, arugula, cabbage, and bok choy are low oxalate alternatives to spinach with comparable nutritional value. Limit almonds to a small handful and alternate with lower oxalate nuts like macadamias or cashews. Enjoy dark chocolate and beets occasionally, not daily. Drink adequate water. Hydration is the single most effective way to dilute urinary oxalate concentration and reduce crystallization risk. And pair higher oxalate foods with calcium-rich foods at the same meal. Dietary calcium binds oxalate in the gut before it reaches the kidneys, dramatically reducing absorption. Ask your doctor to include urinary oxalate in your next kidney workup, especially if you follow a plant-forward diet, drink green smoothies regularly, or have any history of kidney stones. Most standard panels do not include it. You will need to ask specifically. Margaret still makes her morning bowl. It looks a little different now, and her kidney function, for the first time in 3 years, has stopped declining. That is not a small thing. That is everything. The 5-question protocol. I promised you something you could use. Not just information to worry about. A tool you bring into your life starting this week. Here it is. Every time you sit down with your doctor. Routine checkup, medication review, specialist visit, any appointment. Have these 5 questions ready. Write them down, put them in your phone, print them out. Bring them to every single appointment. These 5 questions will do more for your kidney function after 60 than anything on any supplement shelf. Question 1. What is my current GFR, and how has it trended over the last 3 years? This is the foundational question. GFR, glomerular filtration rate, tells you how well your kidneys are actually filtering your blood. It appears on standard metabolic panels most adults over 60 get annually. But here is what most patients never do. They never ask how the number has moved over time. A single GFR reading tells you where you are today. 3 years of readings tells you which direction you are traveling. And how fast. A GFR of 65 is not alarming in isolation. A GFR that was 78 3 years ago, 72 2 years ago, and 65 today, that is a different conversation entirely. The trajectory is the signal. Ask your doctor to pull 3 years of values and look at them together. If they cannot tell you whether your kidney function has been stable or declining, that is important information about how closely it has actually been monitored. Question 2. Do any of my current medications or supplements carry kidney risk, and do any interact in ways that compound that risk? This is Patricia's question. You are not asking your doctor to defend their prescribing decisions. You are asking them to look at the full board. Every prescription, every over-the-counter medication, every supplement, through the specific lens of cumulative kidney load. Most physicians review medications for efficacy and individual side effects. Far fewer routinely audit them for collective nephrotoxic burden in an older adult. Bring your complete list. Everything. The ibuprofen you take occasionally for your knees. The vitamin C you take every morning. The antacid 3 nights a week. All of it lands in your kidneys eventually. Your doctor needs the full picture, and you deserve to have it reviewed. Question 3. Should I have a urinary protein test? And what would an abnormal result mean for my current habits? Protein in the urine, proteinuria, is one of the earliest detectable signals of kidney stress. When the filtering barrier begins to break down, protein that should stay in the bloodstream starts spilling into the urine. Standard annual blood panels measure creatinine and BUN. They do not automatically include a urine protein check. You may need to ask specifically. If your result comes back elevated, even mildly, that is your body's earliest available warning. The signal that gives you the most time to act. Caught here, many causes of early kidney stress are addressable. The damage has begun. It does not mean it cannot be slowed, but it requires action, not observation. Question 4. Given my age and kidney function, what is the safest protein intake level for me specifically? This is Dennis's question. For every person given generic nutritional advice by a trainer, a wellness platform, a well-meaning family member, without that advice being calibrated to their actual kidney biology, the protein targets the fitness industry promotes are built around younger metabolisms with full kidney reserve. After 60, those targets can accelerate the very decline you are trying to prevent. Ask your doctor or a registered dietitian with nephrology experience for a specific daily target, based on your current GFR, your body weight, your activity level, not a generic range from a website, a number built around your kidneys, Your body, right now.
Question 5.
What environmental and lifestyle triggers should I specifically avoid given my current kidney function? This is the question almost nobody asks. And the one almost every nephrologist wishes more patients would. Kidney stress spikes at predictable moments. Illness with vomiting or diarrhea. Prolonged heat without adequate hydration. Heavy exercise without fluid replacement. Starting a new medication without adjusting others. For adults with reduced kidney reserve, these are not minor inconveniences. They are windows of acute vulnerability. Ask your doctor directly, given where my kidney function sits today, what situations should I treat as a red flag? When do I call your office, rather than wait for my next annual appointment? What symptoms tell me something is wrong before a lab panel catches it? Know these signals before you need them. Decreased urine output, unusual fatigue, swelling in the ankles or feet, foamy urine, sudden confusion or mental fog. These are what your kidneys send when they are under acute stress. Knowing them in advance is not anxiety. It is preparation. Any physician who welcomes informed patients will welcome every one of these questions. They will respect you more for asking, and if your doctor makes you feel difficult for raising them. That is important information about whether that doctor is the right partner for the years ahead. You are not being demanding. You are being responsible. There is a difference between medicine that monitors your kidneys and medicine that actually protects them. After 60, the goal of your healthcare should not be to generate lab results. It should be to protect the function, the independence, and the quality of life you have spent an entire lifetime building. Here is what I need you to understand about everyone we met today. Robert did not fail his kidneys. Nobody told him. Ibuprofen and aging kidney tissue is a combination that requires a conversation, not just a label on a bottle. Carol did not fail her kidneys. Nobody told her the wellness industry sells high-dose supplements to older adults without factoring in the biology of the system processing every milligram. Dennis did not fail his kidneys. Nobody told him a fitness protocol built for a 40-year-old body is not automatically right for a 70-year-old one. Patricia did not fail her kidneys. Nobody told her. 3 medications from 3 excellent physicians could converge into a risk that none of them individually created. Margaret did not fail her kidneys. Nobody told her the most celebrated foods in modern wellness culture carry an oxalate load that aging kidneys were never designed to handle at that volume, at that frequency. Every single morning, every one of these people was trying, doing what they had been told, following what the culture around them normalized. The failure was not theirs. The failure was a healthcare system that still too often treats a 70-year-old body with assumptions built for a 50-year-old one. Same screening intervals, same medication protocols, same dietary recommendations. No pause to ask whether the math has changed. It has changed. Dramatically. And now you know that. The kidneys are not a dramatic organ. They do not announce their distress. They do not stop you on a Tuesday afternoon and demand attention. They simply do less and less, until the day a lab panel tells a story that years of silence never did. By the time most people learn the word nephrology, they are already sitting in that office, wishing someone had said something sooner. Consider this your sooner. You have the right to know your GFR and where it has been trending. You have the right to know whether your medications are collectively stressing the organs filtering everything that enters your body. You have the right to have your diet evaluated through the lens of your actual kidney biology, not through the lens of a wellness industry that does not know your GFR, does not know your age-related gut changes, and bears zero consequences when your function declines. The best physicians I have encountered in this research understand something that does not fit in a 15-minute appointment. Protecting an aging kidney is not about finding problems. It is about removing obstacles, reducing load, recognizing that a body in its 7th and 8th decade does not need more intervention. It needs more wisdom applied to the interventions already underway. Doing less is sometimes the most sophisticated medical decision available. Stopping the ibuprofen, lowering the protein target, auditing the supplement shelf, coordinating the medication list, rotating the greens. These do not feel like medicine. They feel like adjustments. Small, quiet, unsexy, but compounded across months and years in organs that do not regenerate and do not forgive chronic overload. Those adjustments are everything. You are not a passive recipient of whatever the system sends your way. You are an active participant in the health of organs that will determine your independence, your energy, and your quality of life for every year ahead. The kidneys filter everything. They ask for very little. Give them that little, the right load, the right awareness, the right questions at the right appointments. And they will keep doing their quiet, essential work far longer than the system ever bothered to tell you was possible. That is what today has been about. Not fear. Not a list of things to avoid. Agency. Yours. Starting right now. If this video gave you a new way to think about your kidney health after 60, if something here made you want to pull out your last lab results, look differently at your supplement shelf, or walk into your next appointment with different questions, please subscribe. I make videos like this every single week. Practical, evidence-based, honest. Built specifically for adults over 60 who deserve more than a rushed appointment and a pamphlet. Hit subscribe now and turn on notifications. Because next week we are going deeper into the medications quietly damaging organs. Most people never think to protect until it is too late. You will not want to miss it. Before you go, I want to ask you one thing. Have you ever had a routine lab result, a medication your doctor added, or a health habit you were genuinely proud of, that turned out to be doing something to your body you never expected? A number moving quietly in the wrong direction. A supplement you trusted completely. A diagnosis that arrived after years of feeling perfectly fine. If that story sounds familiar, leave it in the comments below. Because the person sitting in their kitchen right now, reading their morning labs and feeling confused and a little frightened, they do not need another medical article. They need to know someone else sat exactly where they are sitting, asked exactly the questions they are afraid to ask, and found a way through. Your story is not just your story. It is the thing that gives someone else permission to act before the number on their panel forces the conversation. Was it Robert and the ibuprofen he trusted for 12 years? Carol and the supplement shelf she was so proud of? Patricia and the 3 medications nobody ever looked at together? Margaret's morning health bowl, made entirely from foods the wellness world told her were exactly right. Tell me which one landed hardest. Tell me your name and where you are watching from. I read every single comment. This community reads them too. And somewhere in what you write, there may be the exact sentence that finally convinces someone else to ask their doctor the question that changes everything. Take care of yourselves. Protect those kidneys. They are quieter than your heart, less dramatic than your lungs, and more essential to your independence than almost any organ in your body. I am Dr. Savannah Blaire. I will see you in the next one.